Weird things often go on behind the scenes in video games.
We're no match for the armored killing machines.
Thanks again to the many out-of-bounds discoveries I found out about since the last two videos. Today we're going to be diving into the top 10 craziest out-of-bounds discoveries ever found in a video game. Part 3. Call of Duty: World at War. With every out-of-bounds video so far, I've talked about a weapon somewhere out of bounds in one of the Call of Duties that clearly didn't belong anywhere in the game. I didn't think it could get much weirder than those, but it turns out I may have missed arguably the weirdest one of all in Call of Duty: World at War. In the DLC map Varuk, PC players found if they were to open up the console and use no-clip to get under the map, they could find an MG42 mounted on top of an untextured box that stretched far below the surface. They also found if they maneuvered just right into a position above the weapon, they could activate it inbounds but in a highly glitched, clearly unintended state. Just like the weapon in the last video, things get even weirder when we move over to the remastered version of the map. This time through the use of mods, players once again got under the map in Black Ops 3 and found not only was there an MG42 still there, but it had been entirely retextured and remodeled. On top of this, two dismembered hands were added onto the gun itself, with the untextured box now a long concrete slab, and underneath it a giant pile of bones and skulls. Well that's weird. Still, no purpose has been found for the strange out-of-bounds MG42, and no functionality has ever been found in the remastered version whatsoever, leaving many players wondering if there's still an Easter egg to be found in either game, or if a developer remodeled these objects just to look busy when Activision came into the office. Nicktoons: Attack of the Toybots. Attack of the Toybots is your run-of-the-mill kid-friendly side-scrolling platformer, where Nickelodeon staples like SpongeBob and Danny Phantom go up against a maniacal army of evil toys. One such toy is the adorable Mr. Snuggles, who while hungry for world domination is by no means inappropriate for a Nickelodeon game. That is, unless we use the free look tool included with the Dolphin emulator so we can unlock the camera and get a closer look at Mr. Snuggles' box. While the image here is actually oriented upside down, given they never expected anybody to actually see this, what it actually says is, "I'll hug you and kill you. You'll never sleep again. I'll kill your parents." Always fun knowing there's all kinds of traumatizing things hidden just out of sight in kids' games. Payday 2. Back in August 2018, Bank Heist Simulator Payday 2 received the Shacklethorne auction heist update, which didn't take long for players to break out of. Soon after, they noticed if they stood in this exact spot out of bounds, they could spot a rather unnerving creature flashing against the lightning in the distance. Fans of the series immediately connected the image to a mysterious figure that's been seen in paintings throughout the game. One such example are the ones that can be found in a location commonly referred to as the Alien Room, which is an area that can be found on the Diamond Heist map. This room houses a number of unusual artifacts that don't seem to have any explicit connection to the game, including a mummy in the center of the room with an exceedingly long body that's holding some sort of alien rock. Additionally, on the same map as the out-of-bounds creature, a photo of a similar entity can be seen hovering over the White House in the manor in the center of the map. All of this has led many Payday players to believe that something awful is headed to Payday 2, assumably to enslave us all before they harvest our organs and collapse our world into a fiery ball of impending doom. One thing's for sure, whatever this thing is, we'll all know in due time. The Witcher 3. As you may or may not already know, a large open world game doesn't usually load everything at once, but rather incrementally around the player as you move through the environment. Otherwise, your machine would probably explode from excessive CPU overload. Likewise is the case with The Witcher 3, as it was found if you use a mod on PC to activate a free cam and go into a village before you're actually there. The whole scene is littered with some awkward animation. Alright, nothing too unexpected so far. Wait a second. The hell is going on with that head? Okay. Well, the ducks seem fine at least. Holy mother of... Oh god. Let's get the hell out of here. Maybe no more going out of bounds in The Witcher 3. Dungeon Defenders. Many thanks to my friend Enigma Flame, who spends a much appreciated time on my Discord server finding many awesome video game discoveries for me to cover. and finally I managed to get to one. In this particular find, Enigma was playing action role-playing game Dungeon Defenders when he noticed on the challenge map Sky of Love an unusual object was sitting just outside the map. This malformed, thing resembles absolutely nothing else in the game. Plus it's in a completely random spot with no collision whatsoever or any known purpose in sight. Enigma went across several Discord servers and Dungeon Defender communities seeking out if anybody knew anything about this floating odd head, but nobody came back with any solid answers. Although possibly a misplaced event trigger or a test object of some sort. As Doombutt pointed out on my Discord server, this weird looking dude looks like it actually has an image of somebody's face wrapped around it as a texture. Whatever it is, something strange is definitely going on here, as I don't think something that ugly would just show up randomly in a game. Sorry buddy. Spider-Man. Insomniac's 2018 Spider-Man was the open-world next-gen Spider-Man experience that players have been wanting for years. And no moment felt more AAA next-gen than when players managed to get slightly out of bounds and found this. Now there's actually been some heated debate whether or not this was intended. Let's consider both possibilities for a second. The main arguments for it being intended is that 1, it's barely out of bounds. It's quite simple to get to, and most everything in the same range, such as the boat itself, is significantly detailed. Others have suggested that the 2002 that can be found on the boat signifies that the low-poly men are references to a similar NPC on a boat from 2002's Enter Electro, but I don't know. I played it again and I couldn't find anything of the sort. I'm definitely leaning towards it being a pretty bad mistake. Especially after seeing footage of these baffling Denim mutants that can show up in the game at completely random times, who appear to have similar characteristics to the boatmen. I guess that could also be an Easter egg in itself, but, and this is kind of a rare thing for me to say, I think that's too weird. Battlefield 3. One of the strangest discoveries in the last video was the pilotable helicopter that could be found out of bounds on the first mission of Battlefield 3, which was especially odd considering no otherwise operable helicopters existed in the entire single-player campaign. I received many interesting theories about what the copter could be, such as it being a cutscene asset that maybe made its way into the playable environment, or that it was a background detail that lost its AI in the presence of the player. However, since covering that discovery, more Battlefield 3 out-of-bounds discoveries have been brought to my attention that only continue to add to the confusion. On the campaign mission Cavero, if you were to turn around right at the beginning of the mission, you can easily break out of bounds and traverse an incredibly huge unused portion of the map. And if you were to walk for literally minutes on end in one direction. You can eventually come across a single operable SUV that doesn't appear as a drivable vehicle anywhere else in the game. And it doesn't even end there. As on the single player map Singapore, you can again get out of bounds and find these fully pilotable jets that you can take anywhere on the map. Okay, so how would there be so many drivable vehicles out of bounds that don't appear anywhere else in the game? It definitely gives an impression these vehicles were placed here with intention. Yet when you operate them, the environments clearly aren't designed for them at all. In fact, all this jet shows off is that as soon as you leave the ground, everything completely lacks collision in every direction. Oh, except there. Life is Strange. In Life is Strange, it's been found if you press up at just the right time when you're observing an object, you can clip right through it. Using this trick, YouTuber Mushroom Will Die found if you were to glitch out of Chloe's house in episode 4 and manage to get on solid ground. You can spot a strange, mysterious figure sitting out of the window next door. As far as I remember, there was nobody next door to Chloe's house in the story at all, let alone any instance of somebody sitting out their window doing who knows what. If you notice, all the textures on Max are blacked out when standing in the spot out of bounds, so I'm unsure if the textures on the model just aren't being loaded in out of bounds or if the model never had any textures to begin with. Though I wouldn't be surprised if it was Warren considering all those creepy instances of him being a stalker hidden throughout the game. Elder Scrolls Skyrim. During the quest The Mind of Madness, PC players found if they were to disable collision using console commands, and then made their way past the invisible walls surrounding the map, they could find this completely random door sitting out of bounds with the destination Mind of a Madman. Entering the door loads you into what appears to be a completely normal house locale, until we pull out and see that it's actually a miniature house sitting on the table of a much larger environment. Well, this certainly looks like the work of a madman. Additionally, there's another door in the house that brings you down a long, creepy hallway, ultimately leading to, this. Skyrim players believe this is obviously an unfinished location, but given the unusual surrealism of the area, it's a complete wonder what the original purpose was supposed to be. Definitely making it one of the strangest out-of-bounds locations ever found in a video game. Guild Wars. On Monday, September 17, 2007, the MMORPG Guild Wars received an update to the game that claimed to remove a graphical glitch that appeared while viewing some Nord bridges in first-person view. Given it was patched out 12 years ago, it was a bit hard to find any evidence of this ever existing. But after doing some heavy digging, I managed to uncover this footage uploaded literally the same day as the update. Considering it was probably recorded only just before the update was implemented into the game, we nearly lost all evidence of this ever existing. Well, hopefully all that digging was worth it, as now we can see once and for all what this minor graphical glitch really was. What the f***? Wow, cover up. I don't really think a giant naked man qualifies as a minor graphical glitch. Now, it's actually not entirely unheard of to find a basic human model somewhere in a game, as it's easy for developers to download them for free off the internet and use them for proportioning scale. Granted, you're never likely to find one with the same level of detail that this one had. However, thanks to Guild Wars community relation manager Gal Gray, we actually have a different explanation why this man is sitting here letting it all hang out for everybody to see. This matter keeps cropping up time to time, much to our intense embarrassment. The art team wanted to have a way of really calling attention to a critical unfinished part of the game. Putting X's on the map or out of place images like say a spider in the middle of a non-spidery area didn't make the missing pieces show so well. So someone who shall remain nameless suggested, hey, you know what catches people's attention? A naked man. We realized, well, what he said does make sense, and we started placing sort of placeholder naked models where there was something important unfinished. Such images were not placed widely, but enough that our alpha testers found them in 2003. The shock and consternation of the testers was great, until we explained the naked man's purpose, at which they understood and kindly averted their eyes. Gray went on to explain that this exact model of the naked man was removed so there wouldn't be any impact on the game's ESRB rating. Which, if you've seen my video Most Awkward Video Game Discoveries, then you know the ESRB has a serious reputation for shaking down game developers over content that there was no possibility of anybody ever finding. Needless to say, Gale would probably rather everyone forgot they exposed a giant naked man to many unsuspecting Guild Wars players, but I'm here to make sure that we all remember this giant naked man's ass for what it really is. And that's one of the craziest out-of-bounds discoveries of all time. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please subscribe. Again, a video like this is only made possible from submissions from viewers like you, and I would love to do another video like this again. So if you know of any other content that you'd like me to cover, please feel free to let me know down below in the comments or submit to oddheader.com. Also, if you leave a comment, adding the hashtag outofbounds will help me find it a lot quicker. Additionally, you can hit me up on Twitter or come join my Discord. I'd love to do another Out of Bounds video, but considering we got so much of the best, it's getting harder and harder to find more content. So definitely let me know anything you think would make great material for another video. Shout out to Acryl Gamer Mexicano, Alexander Knight, Dan Duvale, Down with System D, I Fart in Elevators, Emery, J-Day, Pestlun Sleeper, King of Carrot Flower, Nick Fade, Nest Dude, Nick, Riley S, Select, Spencer, TV112 Renee, Thorson, and Towerizer for their Patreon support. Stay tuned.